I have been on self-improvement for the past 3 years. If you knew me 3 years ago, I would be almost unrecognizable. But I made a lot of progress in self-improvement for my first year. That was in my final year of college, right before I started my PhD. But when I started my PhD, I found that it was a little bit harder to stick to the really good habits that I built in that previous year. And because of that, I, I unintentionally took a little bit of a break from the self-improvement habits that I had. And I was still improving, but at a much slower rate during the PhD as opposed to before I started the PhD. But now that I've been back, and I would say now at a higher rate of self-improvement than I was even before I started the PhD, I want to tell you how I was able to improve myself and level up as a PhD student. So there's really 3 ways as a PhD student that you can level up. And the first of which is your academics. So that's primarily going to be your research, and if you're taking classes, it's going to be classes as well. And the first thing that you need to have to be able to level up is a growth mindset. Many people often think that how smart you are or how capable you are of doing research is kind of a fixed value, that you're just sort of born with an innate level of smartness, and that's just what you get. However, that's just not true. In fact, many of the people who end up pursuing PhDs probably had believed that they had a very high level of innate intelligence because they are pursuing higher education. But at whatever level you are at now, you can still be better. That is always going to be true. You can always become better than the current version of yourself. You must believe that you can get better in order to actually get better. There's a quote by Confucius that I absolutely love, and he says, "There is a man who says that he can, and there is a man who says that he can't. Both of them are correct." And it's true. My mom also always loves to tell me, if there's a will, there is a way. So to level up in your research and your classes, you need to believe that you can do so. Now, to actually do that, you need to be able to build good habits. And to know what habits to build, you need to be able to set clear goals and priorities. In a previous video, I talked about SMART goals. So SMART is an acronym. It stands for S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound. And if you make sure that the goals that you set fulfill all 5 categories, then you're actually going to be able to achieve them and get to the next level. So for example, you can't just set a goal of, I'm going to publish 10 first author papers this year if you have never published a first author paper. You need to be able to, you can't skip to level 10 if you're still at level 1. If you're at level 1, you first need to get to level 2, then level 3, then level 4, etc. So you need to be able to set realistic but still ambitious goals that you can break down into individual daily tasks that you can work towards every single day until you achieve those goals. And to identify which goals you should be working on, you need to prioritize what those are. And your priorities depend on what is the specific aspect of life that you want to improve in at this moment. And that's what determines your priorities, and that dictates your habits. Another thing that will really help you level up, especially in terms of research, is to embrace constructive criticism, especially from your PIs. So what I notice is that many people like to be told that they're doing a good job, especially if they worked really hard on it. And while that does help, it doesn't encourage you to do better. Oftentimes, if someone tells you that you're not doing anything that great, or if you get any kind of criticism, we get defensive and we take it personally. But it's just we need a mindset shift. If someone tells you something that you could have done better, this is an opportunity for you to grow and become better. If people just keep telling you that you're doing a great job, no matter, even if you worked hard and people just keep telling you that you did a great job, you're not going to want, where's the motivation to get better going to come from? You just won't get better unless you're your own harshest self-critic. That just won't be the case. So what I like to do is I like to ask for constructive criticism. So whenever, let's say I gave a talk at a conference or something, I'm going to ask my PIs, what specific things about my talk could I have improved? Because I want to improve the skill of public speaking and academic communication. And at first, my PIs didn't really have much to say, but as I continued to ask, they would give me specific points of feedback that they otherwise would not have given me. And I think subconsciously this also makes your PIs respect you more because they recognize that you're trying to get better, and people will always recognize your initiative to get better. Finally, in the research sphere, you have to stay updated in your field. So you need to read papers, attend seminars, if you can, attend conferences. It's important. Self-improvement is about learning, so you have to always be learning and learning about what the latest developments in your field are. What I like to do is I like to set Google Scholar alerts for all of the researchers in my field, and I just get an email every day. It's like a blast email of like, I follow maybe like 10 to 15 researchers, and it shows like the latest developments. And I parse through the titles of those papers and I open up the ones that I find interesting and I think are relevant to my research, and then I read at least one paper a day. And this kind of keeps me up to date with what's going on in the field. Another thing you can do is attend seminars. In your department, there typically will be a seminar speaker series that's once a week. Your professors, your faculty members at your school will invite people to come talk about their research. Now, I used to hate going to these, and in my department, it's actually mandatory for the first couple of years of your PhD that you have to attend the seminars. And I used to think, oh my God, I have to attend all these seminars that are not related to my research, and it's such a waste of time. But by changing my mindset, I've actually had some of my best new ideas come from listening to talks that are not in my field. And by synthesizing other people's research to your own, that honestly just positions you for success in your research. The second sphere of self-improvement as a PhD student is going to be your professional skills. You need to be able to develop your skills as a professional to be able to succeed no matter what your career is, whether it's academia, industry, entrepreneurship, whatever. The first of these is going to be time management. I made an entire video on time management, so you can look at that. But you need to use your hours wisely. If you want to be able to get ahead of your peers, you need to be able and willing to do what others are not willing to do. So for me, it's waking up early and starting my work at around 6 a.m. For you, it might be staying late and working beyond everyone else in your floor, or your lab, or whatever. And the easiest way to do this, because at first you're not going to want to do it, but once you realize that why are you doing the PhD? To some level, you must enjoy what you're doing, or at least enjoy learning in general. So if you position this in your mindset, if you switch your mindset to believe, I get to wake up at 6 a.m. and just start working on what I love, of course you're going to do it. So that's what I do. So people often say, oh my God, you're crazy for waking up so early and working, but it's honestly what I want to do. So it's not hard for me. And honestly, if you don't enjoy your work, either you're in the wrong field or you're not quite deep enough into your subject till you've found something that you enjoy within it. Oftentimes, if you get deep enough into any subjects, you will find something that you will enjoy. Now, still in the sphere of professional skills, you also need to be able to network and collaborate. Um, you never know when opportunities will come to you, so you need to be able to make friends. And most of these opportunities that come up are shared amongst friends and people who know each other and like each other. So people often like to throw around the term networking. Networking is super important, but I think people tend to overcomplicate what networking is. Networking is simply your ability to make friends. If you can make friends with anyone in your field, then you're in a great place, and I'll probably make a separate video about this. Finally, you need to be able to talk to professors. Uh, Most people don't even spend enough time talking to their PIs outside of lab meetings, and their committee members and other professors as well. They are a huge resource, and just knowing who they are and talking to them is going to be essential for your success. And finally, the final sphere of self-improvement is your personal well-being. If you want to be able to level up, you need to be able to take care of your body. And there's this culture in the PhD of like grinding and not sleeping and not taking care of yourself. And honestly, I believe that this is quite a negative stereotype and very counterintuitive. You're not going to do your best work if your mind and body are not in their best shape. So what I recommend for everyone, no matter what you're doing, you don't even have to be in a PhD for this, is to do some kind of working out. So any kind of exercise, keep your body moving. It could be running, weightlifting, CrossFit, whatever it is. Just keep your body moving. You need to sleep well. So to sleep well, there's a couple things you can do. You can don't eat a couple hours before going to bed. Don't go on your phone right before going to bed, and get enough hours of sleep. Your mind needs to be able to rest in order to function to its best ability. And also eat well. Don't eat super unhealthy. Obviously, you can eat something unhealthy once in a while, but if you're like me, then you can track every single thing that you eat so that you're conscious that you're eating the right foods and not eating unhealthy foods in excess. Eating is all a function of moderation. So if you're in moderation, then you're good. And all of these aspects of your personal well-being will help you perform better academically, socially, and will help you level up. They're going to help you reduce your stress levels. They're going to help you manage your time better. They're going to help you think more clearly. It makes your working hours more productive. So honestly, why wouldn't you do it? Just take care of yourself and your body will take care of you. And finally, this is kind of my last point, is to also do things that you enjoy. You can do all the right things in self-improvement and you'll hate your life if you don't do anything that you actually enjoy. Ideally, you enjoy all the things that you're doing like I do, but if you don't enjoy them, then find some way to work in some things that you do enjoy. Make friends, stay in touch with your family, and maintain your support system to prevent burnout. The PhD is hard and you need people in your corner to help you succeed to the best of your ability. With this mindset, you can level up during your PhD and become the absolute best version of yourself. Don't let the excuse of I'm in my PhD to stop you from becoming the best version of yourself.